Hey, seventh graders. Hope you are doing well. So we are back to our flipped classrooms. So you will watch this video and then you will come to our groups. But if we need to make changes, we will. But for right now, this seems like it's the best option. All right, so now that you're in your Google Classroom, I need you to find the Pear Deck for today. So in your Google Classroom, it says, before coming to groups, watch the video below and start working on the Pear Deck. So synchronously, we'll review the Pear Deck, and then we're going to go over your Google Doc homework. And so on your own, you will be working on evaluating an argument practice. So it is due tomorrow. That is down here. So the two things you will need for today, I put in there yesterday, so because today's Wednesday, yesterday, so I put it in there yesterday. So if you would please go to the synchronous Pear Deck and open up the Pear Deck assignment from Tuesday. All right, once you open that assignment, it will look like this. So everybody's screen should look like this. You will need this open as we go through it so you can work on it. So please have this open at this time. You can pause the video if you need to, but let's open this up, okay? All right, so we're going over the elements of an argument. An argument is when you are kind of debating and you want to prove your side, of course. All right, so basically, before we start writing argumentative papers, we need to understand all the elements of an argument. Claim, counterclaim, reason, and evidence are the four elements of an argument. And we're going to be doing each of these in our writing, so you need to know what they are. All right, so let's start it off. What is a claim? So you were to respond with what you think a claim is. So you're going to click a button. Is it A, the fact the writer states, B, the writer's position on an issue based on fact and evidence, C, a statement from a source that proves the author's position, or D, a statement that is opposite the author's position? So you need to click what you think is the answer. Okay. All right. So just so that you know, the claim is the writer's position on an issue supported by facts and evidence. So when you make a claim, you're saying what your position is. Okay. I think I have the best students. That is my claim. So now I would have to support it with facts and evidence. Okay. Or if I thought the Kansas City Chiefs were the best football team, great, but then I would have to support it with facts and evidence. All right, so your claim is your argument. So we are going to be getting into a model text and going through the different elements of the model text. So looking at that, so we're going to read Leaving Main Street soon, and we're going to look at that as a way to help us with our writing of an argument. So the example claim in Leaving Main Street is that humans explore space because it's in our genes. We're hardwired with certain built-in features that compel us in that direction. Now we're still sticking with space. So you're going to be arguing about, should we be doing space exploration? So as you can tell here, this writer believes that we should, because it's in our genes. It's built in us that we have to go visit space. We have to go there. All right, so a counterclaim. What is a counterclaim? So you're going to guess as to what a counterclaim is. Is it the fact the writer states, the writer's position on an issue based on fact and evidence, C, a statement from a source that proves the author's position, or D, a statement that is opposite the author's position? So you need to click which one that you think it is. All right. And a counterclaim is a statement or position that is opposite of the author's position. So you're going to have your claim, and then you're going to have a counterclaim. So, and you're probably like, why? Well, you have to present the other side and explain why that's not necessarily right. Because other people are going to have different views, and you have to explain kind of like why that's wrong. Okay, so let's look at this counterclaim. So it goes against your claim, which sounds crazy, but you need to argue against it. So it says, there have always been naysayers who've questioned the need for space exploration. The argument goes that the United States has more important things to spend their money on. Okay, so that's the opposite side. And of course, the argument is going to say how that's wrong. But that's the other side, that we have better things to spend their money on. Personally, I do too. But anyways. Okay. So why is this a counterclaim? How do you know? That's a good question. So how do we know it's a counterclaim? What do you think? How do you know? We just kind of went over it. Okay. So you should be writing your answer here. All right, next step. What is a reason? Okay. Is it the fact the writer states, a point that the author support the author's claim, or a statement from a source that proves the author's position, a statement that is opposite of the author's position? So click which one you think it is. So a reason is a point that supports the author's claim. So it's just a point. It is not necessarily a fact. We're going to get into that, okay? But it's a reason, and it supports the author's claim. So here's the example reason from Leaving Main Street. Again, this is the text we're going to use as a model. First, there is something about the human condition that strives to be the best or the first at something. Okay, so that is one reason that this writer presents as to why we should go to outer space. Okay, so this leads us to evidence. What do you think evidence is? The fact the writer states, the writer's position of an issue based on fact and evidence, a statement from a source that proves the author's position, or a statement that is opposite of the author's position. Which one do you think it is? Okay, so evidence is a statement from a source that proves the author's position. So you have your claim, you have your reason, but you got to back those things up. You can't just make these claims. You can't just say this is a reason. You have to back these up with facts. And that is what evidence is. It backs up your claim. It backs up your evidence. It's a fact from a source. So writers should always use evidence that is credible. Notice that word is underlined. What does credible mean? Able to be believed, to credit something crazy or insane. What do you think credible means? So credible means able to be believed. So you want to find sources that are credible. That means that like you can believe in them. You know that what they're saying is actually facts. So we can believe evidence if it is written recently, check the date, if it has a specific author, if it doesn't have spelling and grammar mistakes, the source is knowledgeable about the topic of an argument. Ms. Kakin can write about being a middle school English teacher because I've been doing it for longer than you've been alive. But Ms. Kakin should not be writing a paper about being a math teacher because I am not a math teacher. See, I know what I'm talking about for English. I don't know what I'm talking about for math or science, okay? So make sure your source knows what they're talking about. So you'll have to look at who the author is and how do they know what they're talking about, okay? So we're going to get into this a little bit more, but so thumbs up, the source is credible. Thumbs down, it is not. So the evidence was written in 1925. Is that credible or not credible? Okay, so you're going to give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Evidence is perfectly written. Evidence was written in 2019. Evidence has misspellings, or evidence has no author. So give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So you're going to drag the little thumbs up there. So here's the example evidence from the model text, but these are not the real reasons for continuing the space program, says Michael Griffin, an and Air and Space magazine. So that's kind of evidence, and we know it's a trusted source. Michael Griffin and Air and Space magazine. We know um, that's a credible source. All right. So how do we know it's credible? So you're going to take a second to answer. Ms. Kagan said that's a credible source. How do you know? What makes it credible? Just based on that. Now, we're going to discuss this in class, but before we keep going, when we talk about credibility, and you'll see this word floating around every now and then, you're going to see the word bias. Bias, now I'm just introducing the idea so that you kind of have an idea. It's when a source only tells one side of an argument and does not mention any other possible sides. Okay. Like if I was looking up how amazing teachers are and I went to a teaching website, they're not going to tell you how teachers are bad. They're not going to tell you that. Okay. So you have to make sure that your source tells you both sides of an issue, or it's biased. It's only showing you one side. It's biased. Like Miss Kakin's going to be biased about her students being the best because you guys are my kiddos and you guys are the best to me. But maybe there are other kiddos that are good too. You guys are the best. But I'm a biased source because I know how amazing you are. But anyways, all right, so for your assignment this evening, you're going to do an evaluating an argument Google form. It is due tomorrow. So again, that is in the Google Classroom. Now, when we come back together in your groups, look for your groups, we're going to go over that pear deck, reviewing it, going over what your answers are. So you need to start your answers, okay? And your asynchronous work is here as well. So here's the synchronous and here's the asynchronous. So you should be working on those things. All right. If you have any questions, problems, concerns, bring them to group and we will address them then. Hope you have a good day.